Hello everyone, and welcome to our first tutorial this semester for the Sustainability in Architecture Design course. I'm Mashaly and I'll be doing the online tutorials. We'll start the semester with a simple expressive tool for creating building concepts. The tool we're using is an Autodesk product just like Revit, and it's called Vasari. Vasari is focused on conceptual building design, using both geometric and parametric modeling. It supports performance-based design via integrated energy modeling and analysis features. Let's start our tutorial that consists of two parts. The first part is an introduction to Vasari's interface and how to use its modeling tool. Then we'll continue the second part that discusses the capabilities of Vasari as an analysis tool. So this is the Vasari window when it opens, which contains the projects, the recent projects that we have. And if you want to create a new project, whether we create a new imperial project or metric, and there are some families here, which are families used in massing or in creating the model. Okay, so we're gonna start with making a new metric, which is a metric template for making our project. And we choose metric, of course, because we use meters and centimeters and millimeters in our project. So we choose this one and we wait here until the program opens. Okay, and when it opens, as you can see here, it has a similar interface to Revit. So with slightly differences in the interface, like the tabs here, they are less than in Revit. And they're different. So we have only here a model tab, which helps us in creating the model, and then an analyze tab, which will help us in making the energy analysis and the climate and solar analysis, and the manage tab, which manages the project that we're working in. Let's say, for example, we want to change the project units from here, so we can change it working with the right units here. So let's work with, instead of millimeters, we work with meters and make it 2 decimal places here and make the symbol as meter. Okay, and press OK. And after that there are some add-ins here if we have any extra add-ins, and then the modify tab. Okay, so and in the middle here we have this 3D space which we create in our model, and as you can see here, this space contains the levels that we are working on and a blue surface here that we're gonna explain later. As for the levels, we can change them easily from here. If we select one of the levels, let's say this level, which is level 2, we can change the number. If we're working on the height between the floor and the other floor is 4 meters, we can change it from here. And let's say we have it 4. And so on with the other levels. For example, like this. Let's change this first so they don't overlap. And then change this one. Okay, 4, and this one is 4. Yeah. Okay. So now we have a difference between all levels for example. This is independent on the project that you're working on. As for the planes here, this blue plane, this is the working plane that we're working on. If we come here and see in this model tab, we can see here in the first working plane, and we can show it or hide it from here, and we can set a new working plane where we can work on. So for example, we want to change this from level 1 to level 3, for example, and press OK. This is the working plane that we're working on now. Okay, let's get this back to level 1. Okay, so we can zoom in and out with the scroll button, and we can press the scroll button to pan and rotate with the right click and shift for rotating in our model. Okay, and this part here, this small box, which is a navigation box where we can know the north from the east, from the south, as you can see. Okay, this is north, west, south, and east. Okay, now we're gonna create our first mass. So let's agree on some stuff when creating masses on Vasari. We're not creating a full model like in Revit. So if you take, for example, this small building here, which I made in Revit. Okay, this is a full building with all the windows and columns. We have here like the curtain walls, okay, and the floors. So this is a building with all the functionality. Maybe we'll have inside furniture or some internal walls and so. Well, on Vasari you don't need all this. All what we need on Vasari is the outer lines of this building. So for example here we're gonna only model the walls and the floors. Okay, and there's a different way in modeling on Vasari. Let's get back to Vasari. So if you want to model on Vasari, let's take a very primitive mass and see how it's created. If we place a mass like this, which is a T-shaped mass, okay, this T-shaped mass is very primitive with only some surfaces for the walls and the floors and the roof. After that we will come to how to make it more of a building. So we don't need all the details and all the let's say yeah, all the details in creating our building on Vasari, since it's a very primitive tool for energy analysis. Okay, so let's start by creating a new mass here. Create mass, and now we're in editor mode, which is editing and drawing the mass. So first we're gonna draw our outlines. So let's know how the outlines are drawn. They are drawn first with some lines here from the drawing tools, like lines from this one, and we draw it on the working plane which we chose before. Okay. So now we've created 4 lines, closed lines, which created a surface. This surface can be after that modified or extruded to become a form. So if we come here for form, create form, by selecting first the plane that we've just created or the 4 lines that we've created, and then create form and then solid form from here. Now we have a building form that is created, or a mass that is created. Okay, we can start adjusting this mass. For example, the height of the mass from here. As you can see, the height is written as 220 meters. So let's make it, for example, we have a building that is 3-story high. Let's assume any building now. A 3-story high building. Each floor is 4 meters. So we have a 12 meters building in height. Okay. And we can create other masses in the same mode. For example, we have a more curved mass like this one, and be careful when we start creating the second mass. As you can see here, the blue line is a blue surface. This blue surface. Okay, this is now the new working plane that we are working on. So let's say we don't want to make this the lines that I'm gonna create next on this surface. So I have to change it again to level 1. So I can change this from set here again, and then selecting the line, the level line of level 1. So now I'm back again to this working plane. So we can start by creating our other building or other mass here. this is an arc, for example, and then we have like a spline tool, or spline tool, okay, which is, let's make something like this, for example. This is a bit curvy. Let's make it again like this. Okay. Okay. For example, something. Okay. And then we have to make sure that it snaps again with the first line. And this is our new surface. And again, we can make it extruded form. From here, create form, solid form. And we have another shape here. Okay. So we can adjust this surface, and we can select any surface like I've selected now. This for example, this surface, and start adjusting it, moving it around. Maybe we can move it on the red axis, so the shape becomes more deformed, and move it on the green axis to become more and more deformed, for example. And we can also change other planes, not only the upper plane, we can change other planes. Okay. Okay, and we can also, if we wanna adjust one of the planes, let's say for example we wanna make a new edge. The edges are this part, which is the edge of the building. We wanna add a new edge to start making adjustments to a part of this surface, for example. From here, this part, which is form element, we can make a new edge from here, add edge. Okay, so we start moving on the surface, any surface that we want to make an edge on, for example here, and then this becomes an independent surface that if we extrude it, it will start making the form more complicated or more complex. Okay, this is the simple introduction to the massing. Another very important tool in massing is how to make voids. So let's say for example here, if we want to make a void inside this building or a courtyard or something like that, so we can start going to model and make the shape first. We make the shape of the void, let's say something like this. Now let me make it from top view like this. Okay, and this is just a simple surface. And then this surface, instead of creating form, a solid form, we can create a void form. So we create a void form here and start adjusting this void form to cut through all the building, and then press anywhere far from the building, and as you can see here, we have a nice void form in our existing mass. Okay, now we can close the editor. If we finished our masses for the project, we can close the editor from finish mass from here, which finishes our editing mode, and then we come back to our normal mode here. So we now we have some surfaces that are ready to become more of a building.